Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Friel Thing with me, the hostess with the mostest. Just make this stuff up, man. Greg Friel. And I'm here with Phyllis Hutchison. Now, Phyllis, it is wonderful to have you here. Finally, we're using Zoom because we couldn't get the other thing to work, but we're happy. This is fine. This will do. The fact that we're able to speak is great. So for the folks at home, if you could just quickly say who you are and what it is you do.
My name is Phyllis Hutchison, and I'm founder of a Glasgow-based charity called Friends of Omwa Wa Africa. And for those who don't speak Swahili, that actually means Dogs of Africa.
There you go. Which is exactly how we met, because a good friend of ours, Badil McCaskill, shared a post, and you were there was a absolutely adorable dog that you'd rescued and you were trying to find a home for, and my wife and I were like, we're looking for a dog, but was not to be. But I got to meet you, which was a bonus. So the thing is that I get to find out about this incredible business that you're doing. This is the thing I love about connecting with people through networking and Facebook and all these kind of things, is that you find people and things that you just didn't know actually happened. Obviously I'm aware that people rescue dogs and all this kind of thing, but I had no idea that you do what you do and rescue them from over there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's a sort of convoluted story in that basically I retired a number of years ago, and always wanted to go to the Serengeti from childhood. I've always had a great fondness of animals and Africa. So when the two came together, it was just magical, basically. Mm-hmm. So 2013, I travelled to the Serengeti, and along the way, I actually stopped at an orphanage. And I didn't know at this moment in time that this orphanage was actually going to change my life forever, because the children were very unwell. They had very little food. The walls were very damp, and they were very welcoming, and they took me to show me their home. Mm-hmm. And I was horrified to discover that 36 children were sleeping in 6 bunk beds.
Oh my goodness.
It was really quite heartbreaking. So I wanted to do something to try and help. I didn't actually realise I was in a village called Umtuwambu, which I now know was, in fact, at one time, the highest malaria risk area in all of Africa. Wow. So it translates River of the Mosquitoes, hence the reason lots of people die of malaria in that area. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the kids were actually malaria orphans.
Right, I see.
So these children, the whole thing weighed very heavily on me, and I was actually leaving Tanzania that day. So got on the plane, Kilimanjaro, heading back to Glasgow with no plan. I felt that I wanted to do something to try and help them. Mm-hmm. So to sort of fast forward the story a bit, I found out. Time. You sure?
Yeah, you can fill in the details. There you go.
Okay. I wanted to do something to try and help them. So I told the director, I'll be in touch. So came home, thought about it, made some inquiries, and discovered that there was 2 ladies in the States who were trying to help these kids, just like I was wanting to do. So I asked their permission to join forces to see if we could do something to change their lives. And basically, I came home, started fundraising. It wasn't a charity at that point. Came home, started fundraising, having all the crazy 60s discos, 70s discos, bake sales, you name it. Nobody was safe, even people at a bus stop. Nobody was safe. It was a case of empty your pockets. There's these kids in Africa that need your money, you know. Yeah. So what we did was, with these ladies, we actually bought land, which was away from the flood area, built an orphanage, right, and a kindergarten school, and then all these 36 children plus 7 staff had a bed. We put in water, running water, electricity, and planted 300 fruit trees in the front yard.
So how long did this take? What kind of time scale are we talking about here?
2-3 years, something like that.
Right.
A couple of years. where these children were was rural. So it wasn't very, very expensive to do all that.
Right. Okay.
Because it was very rural. So, I mean, to this day, I'm, very much in touch with these kids. I get videos every other day, about the new dress, the new school, the passed their exams, the whole bit. It's really quite lovely. So we've got 36 kids now who are in a much better space than they were when I first met them. But it was during my involvement with the children that I actually witnessed a lot of dogs in a village called Mizrani. And these dogs were all very badly injured, but they seemed to be, there was something about the injuries that got me thinking, because it was kind of similar. So I spoke to our driver, Omari, and said, can you find out what's happened to these dogs? So he gets I don't know if you've ever been in Africa, but nothing happens without the...
Morocco. Have you been to Morocco?
Right. Without the head of the village, there's a main man in every village. So Omari goes off and gets Dr. Kapanga to come and tell me about these dogs, and I almost died. He said, oh, they've been shot. Every dog had been shot. And this was something that they still actually do regularly to control the dog population.
My goodness.
And it's barbaric, but it also doesn't work, because as soon as you kill all the dogs in a village, all the free roaming dogs actually move in. So it isn't efficient. So I was absolutely horrified. And there was one dog that was very close to where we were, and it seemed to have an injured leg, and it wasn't bleeding. It was clear it had been shot, but I'm thinking this dog might have a chance because it's not bleeding and it's an injured leg.
Yeah.
The other dogs kind of crawled into the bush. I don't know where they went, but I'll never ever forget the feeling of helplessness, because I love animals and I could do nothing to help these dogs.
Now, see, up until this point, had you been doing work with animals back home? Had that been part of your life?
I've always dipped in and out of voluntary work with animal rescue.
Right.
Yeah, I've worked with several rescues. Yeah, because I've always had a great love of animals.
Right.
So, I mean, I never thought I would be doing this in Africa, but the fact was there was nobody helping in Africa at that moment in time.
Yeah.
No one. There's a lot of stuff here goes on, but there's a lot of help here too.
Yeah.
So that kind of made the difference to it. So the dog with the injured leg, it was playing with a small boy, and I asked Omari, could we ask this child's parents if they could look after this dog? And he said, yeah. So we approached them, and I said, if I give you some money, can you take care of this dog until I get some help? And they agreed.
Right.
So I contacted the only non-African person that I knew in Tanzania, who is a gentleman called Dr. Frank. He's an American cardiologist. He works at Fame Hospital in Karatu. Right. And that's because one of the children at the orphanage has a heart condition. So we actually sent him to this private hospital for his treatments. And I asked Dr. Frank if he was aware of any help. And he pointed me in the direction of what he called a dog-loving woman called Sandra in Arusha. Mm-hmm. So that's
this is what, about 2013 still?
This is 2014.
14, right? Okay.
This is 2014 now. I was going back and forward all the time, regularly to Tanzania, to try and help these children.
It's one of these things that it kind of obviously just sparked something in you that you were just like, as soon as you'd had that first experience, you just had to go back and forth. Yeah.
It's a funny thing because sometimes I don't remember what I did this morning, but I clearly remember in 2013, the morning after I come home from Tanzania, I was walking my dogs in Rooken Glen Park.
Right.
And I met a lady and she sort of said, oh, you've been away, you've got suntan and what have you. And I told her about these kids in Tanzania. And she said to me, what can you do? You're only a woman in Glasgow.
Mm-hmm. And nothing like trying to underestimate a woman in Glasgow.
Absolutely. But apart from that, I actually do remember thinking, I have no clue what I'm going to do, but I know what I'm not going to do. and that's walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
The plan is there was no plan.
Yeah.
You know, but
I think sometimes, whenever you something really, really touches you, that you just like, okay, I need to find a way to do this. And, I'm going to make this work no matter what it's going to be. And if I don't know how to do that, then I'll find someone who does, and then try and, bring the pieces together. So what was the next stage in the process? How did you kind of then move it along from asking people to, while you were trying to get, bits and pieces
at this point,
yourself?
Once Dr. Frank had said, the dog-loving woman in Arusha called Sandra, I contacted Sandra and discovered this was a German couple who had made a road trip from Germany in their old car and their dog in the back, and had landed in Tanzania, had saw the need for the dogs there and said, we're going to set up home here, and they've been there ever since. And I think at this moment in time, it's probably about 17, 18 years they've been there. Okay. They were actually running sort of boarding kennels at that point and doing a little bit of rescue. So I told them the story about this dog in Mizorani with the bullet in its leg. And I said, if I send you some money, can you help this one dog? So about 3 weeks passed, and then I got a call from Jens, who's Sandra's husband, saying, can you please, I'm sending you some photographs. Can you identify your dog? And it was her. It was this dog. Now, that was great, but the downside was she'd actually just delivered 6 pups.
Okay.
Now, this dog didn't even look pregnant because it was so malnourished.
Right, I see.
So Jens was coming back to his rescue with 7 dogs. Okay, I was footing the bill, but that didn't really matter. That was a lot of work for them. So that kind of told me a lot about the people that I was dealing with, that they just, a crazy woman at the other side of the world asked them to do something. And I didn't actually realise the big ask, because Mizorani was nowhere near where they were.
Right, I see.
So it was a very long journey for them to do that. And they did. So I had to fly back and meet them, as you do. So when I met them, I just thought they were absolutely incredible people and totally restored my faith in humanity. Yeah. Couldn't believe how brilliant these people were, how selfless they were.
So did you then think, okay, I'm actually going to set up some kind of organization back home so that I'm able to actually cope with all of this? When did that happen? Was that a lot further down the track, or did you immediately start thinking, well, I need to kind of do this in a more sort of structured kind of way?
Immediate,
right?
Absolutely immediate. As soon as I met Sandra and Jens, I realised their worth as human beings and their dedication. So, as I say, I flew straight back to Tanzania to meet them. And once I saw what they were doing, it was rescue in a small way and boarding kennels, but I could see their passion for animals. So I said to them, in between times, I should say that I actually had to educate myself about Tanzanian culture a little bit to find out what was going on, why they were shooting these dogs, etc. It made no sense. The sort of, as I thought at the time, the cruelty of it made no sense. That you would, a dog would be subjected to a long, suffering death. But when I actually educated myself a little bit, I realised that 59,000 people die every year of rabies across the world, and 1,500 of them are in Tanzania. So everything happens through fear of rabies. That's the bottom line.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So I said to Sandra and Jens, if I come on board to try and help financially, would you be interested in carrying out rabies vaccination campaigns and spay neutering campaigns? But if we do that, we have to get the government on board to produce a no-cull policy in every area that we're working in. There's no point in us spaying neutering. Trying
to do that and you're fighting that.
And they shoot them.
Absolutely.
Makes no sense. So anyway, they were in agreement, says it's fantastic. Again, sitting on the plane from Kilimanjaro to Glasgow, I do not have a plan, but I have this belief system. This is going to work. This has to work. So I wrote letters away to every organisation I could think of, animal organisation. And at this point, I wasn't a charity, but I started the process of setting up a charity.
Right.
But in actual fact, I was very lucky because one organisation offered me £10,000 towards a campaign.
Fantastic.
And that was May 2015.
Okay.
We did our very first rabies vaccination campaign and spay neutering.
Mhm.
And that was the £10,000 that started the whole thing. So sort of from there to now, we have campaigns regularly because we've got a lot of volunteer vets from around the world. We've got about 200 vets from around the world.
Doing the same thing.
They come over and they spay, neuter, and I mean the vaccination campaigns we can do without the vets.
Yeah.
But obviously just the spay neutering, we need the vets there, and they'll carry out all sorts of other surgeries, whatever's required. So to date, we've vaccinated 51,000 street dogs
Oh my
against
goodness.
rabies. Yeah. So
Wow.
no plan kind of worked out a bit.
It certainly did.
We're not finished. No way finished, but
Yeah. But
we're on our way.
now that you've been doing that, has there been a plan to sort of broaden that, the sort of the remit, as it were, whether that's geographically over there or the other areas over there, or are you doing the same kind of thing here, or has it inspired you to do something here?
Well, I don't see the need here.
Mhm.
I don't see the need here for that. And I know there's a lot of good people here
Yeah.
trying to make things better. In Tanzania, last year we bought land. We bought land and we bought a volunteer house for our volunteers going over so they can stay on site. And we've built a lot of structures. But right now I'm fundraising to build an animal welfare and veterinary training centre, and it'll be the first of its kind in Africa.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm fundraising for right now, because that will really speed up the work that we're doing.
So, what form does the fundraising take? I mean, obviously, I've been speaking to a lot of charities, over the past year with everything with COVID and all that. It's very hard for them to raise funds and for people to go out and raise funds for them and that kind of thing. What have you been able to do?
It's been very, very difficult. COVID has been, obviously it's been difficult for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons.
Mhm.
With regards to fundraising, it's sort of been crippling for charities and businesses, of course, too. But we've done the kilt walk, the virtual kilt walk,
Yeah.
which has been a lifesaver to us because, as you probably know, Sir Tom Hunter,
Yes.
he always tops it up by 50%,
Mhm.
which is extremely generous. And in fact, last year he topped it up by 100%.
Wow, amazing.
I know, totally amazing. So that was incredible because it was virtual. People could do it in their gardens. People could do it in, wide open space, etc. So it was quite wonderful to see the fact that people were still willing to help, to do something, and they would find a way to do it, even with the restrictions.
Yeah, I mean, I think, certainly if you look at various other sort of charity things in recent months, like Comic Relief and anything where there's, some kind of campaign to try and raise funds, it's an incredible amount of money that people still are prepared to give to charity. And you're thinking, this is a difficult time. Some people are really having to, tighten their belts, and that's, understandable. But people can just still be incredibly generous, which is always lovely to see.
I think I'm very fortunate because in doing the kind of work that I'm doing, I think we see the best in people.
Mm-hmm.
We really see the best in people. I mean, an example, about 4 mornings ago, I've actually got a dog from Tanzania here. Someone chopped his leg off with a machete, again, probably because of fear of rabies. And he needed surgery, actually, because he got beaten very badly about the head and face. So he needed surgery they couldn't do in Tanzania, hence the reason I brought him here.
Right.
So he's always a topic of conversation. People will say, oh, he's lovely because he's friendly.
Hmm.
What happened to his leg? And then, oh, he came from Tanzania, and the story unfolds. Now, I met these people and we maybe walked together for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm doing the Kilt Walk on the 23rd of April this year.
Yeah.
These people that I've only met for 20 minutes have just put £100 into the Kilt Walk for us.
Fantastic.
I
can imagine you'd be very persuasive, though, Phyllis.
No way. I'm the Shaq Reserve type. Don't believe what Badil has said. It's all a filthy rumour.
Not at all. Not at all. So you're doing the Kilt Walk. Are there other fundraising plans just now?
Well, it's hard to plan.
Yeah.
It's really hard to plan right now. We do a monthly lottery.
Right. Okay.
We do a monthly lottery if anybody feels like joining that.
Mm-hmm.
£5 a month, and then there's a cash prize at the last day of every month.
Yeah.
Someone wins a cash prize. So apart from the lottery and the Kilt Walk, the other thing we did was Ben Lomond Climb last year.
Oh, right. Okay.
And if ever you're up there, perhaps you could look for my 3 toenails.
The last I did it 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. I did it on my 40th birthday. And I was kind of like, I'm going to do something on my 40th birthday. And I went and climbed Ben Lomond by myself. And, incredible sense of satisfaction and all that. I loved it. But I thankfully did not lose any toenails or anything.
Three. As I say, I did it maybe 40 years ago.
Right.
And for some strange reason, it seemed much easier then.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
No, I've no idea. No idea. But if I had known then what I know now, I would just have put the money into the pot myself.
I know what you mean. It's kind of like, why am I doing this again?
Because the rain was so bad, couldn't even see anything from the top.
I got lucky. It was June, so and it was actually sunny. So I think I actually ended up with, dare I say it, a bit of a tan from doing it, which is highly unusual.
Thank you for sharing, Greg. I feel so much better now.
So Phyllis, if people are wanting to donate to support the charity and to find out more about the work that you do, where can they find you?
They can find us on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And can we maybe put that link up?
Absolutely, we'll put it all in the show notes. Just say it right now, just so we this is the bit where you get to go.
This is my moment.
It's this.
Friends of Mbwa, that's MBWA.
Okay.
Wa Africa.
Brilliant. And that's on Facebook and all that as well. So I will get all the links from you and we'll put it in the show notes so we can try and send a few people your way. But Phyllis, I'm so glad we actually managed to get the technology to work. This is good. And we managed to have the chat. And thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you so much for your time. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.